Okay, my name is Daryl Johnson. The name of my business is Signature Culture Consulting, and the industry that I'm in is, of course, consulting um, in virtual events, also life coaching and public speaking. So I guess if all of those things kind of fall within the same umbrella, that's the industry. And what was the other question that you?
What's your main role in the industry?
Oh, so
Like,
I am the founder. Yeah, so I'm the founder and the owner of this particular company. So yeah, my role is a little bit of everything, whatever it takes.
it sounds like you got a lot of stuff under your umbrella that keeps you busy, huh?
Yeah, a lot of stuff. I recently added the virtual event side of things due to the pandemic. My birthday was actually on April 12th, and I was supposed to go to Nairobi. And because of COVID, I wasn't able to do that. So I was like, why not throw a virtual party? It really wasn't for me. It was for a few of my college friends that our birthdays fell on the same date. So I was
Mm,
like, let me just, see what this does. So from
okay.
there, I started throwing things for the family. And then now, I guess what, 4 months later, still doing it, kind of picking up speed a little bit. So
Okay.
nice little idea that kind of came to fruition.
How long have you been an entrepreneur?
I would say I'm going to give myself since like the age of 8 to like 10, just
Oh,
for the simple fact that I grew up in a entrepreneurial like family. My dad owned a dry cleaners. A lot of his brothers and family members have like their own business and whatnot. But my dad solely within our dry cleaning business. Like I've never seen him clock in. I've never seen him, report to anyone. So we've always been kind of driven to, in the dry cleaning business, like deliver quality and when in the wintertime, shovel snow, rake leaves, like
hmm.
do legal, jobs that kind of, get money because, as a kid, your parents aren't that well, I didn't have the type of parents that were just going to give me, whatever, I wanted. So it was a nice way to kind of build that entrepreneurial spirit.
Emphasis on legal.
Yeah, legal, emphasis on legal. Yeah. No
Emphasis on legal.
no 10Ks.
So would you say that's what motivated you to start your own business? I feel like most people that you meet don't grow up in an entrepreneurial family. It's something that they learn on their own, but like how great is it that you actually got to grow up in that environment?
Yeah, I think that definitely plays a huge role for the simple fact that my dad had a sixth grade education, if that. So he was operating just solely with his will, desire, and, passion to deliver quality. So to kind of see that at a young age and like see him never stop through all the barriers and the lack of, knowledge or education or
Even
just
resources
business
as a
sense.
Black
Yeah,
entrepreneur.
resource, like it's so many resources that you don't know about or that you're not even privy to when you don't have that education, or you don't have like that outlook. Not saying that there weren't still opportunities, but I think as a kid, I just kind of embellished like the actual hands-on approach of like it was mine.
Mhm.
So and when I was in high school, I actually got my for the National Honor Society. I went to my counselor and I went to the principal and I was like, hey, like, you know, our roles are kind of, because I have a certain standard too. I try to have a certain standard, especially going up in the dry cleaning business. You can easily go and press your clothes in like 2 minutes, pants, shirts, boom, done. Now I'm crisp, done with that. So to kind of see like my classmates and the roles be wrinkled and things like that, like I took a sense of pride and like, hey, like you have a student in your school that parents have a dry cleaning business. Why not partner? Why not pay,
You
us to
decided
do
to
this
start.
service?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I wound up setting up that. We wound up doing that. I think maybe that one time because of Chicago Public School, because that's where I'm from. I'm from the South Side of Chicago. They didn't whatever barriers that they had. I know, right? Whatever barriers that they had, wouldn't allow like for like a contract or whatever. But doing things like that, I mean, that was in high school. Like
Mm.
that was technically a contract that was secured by me through my dad's business. I didn't realize this at the time until I started getting into business, and now I look back like, dang, I was doing that
I was
like
consulting all the way.
way back when. Yeah, that was way. We started a long time ago.
So tell us a little bit about Signature Consulting and what your company offers.
So signature culture, emphasis on the culture, consulting. It so pretty much it's my goal for it is to pretty much create a culture that people just can't stop talking about. So a lot of times when people ask, what do you do? It's not too much that I don't plan on like not doing. Because it's, when you talk about the culture of anything, it's so broad, it can get, very particular in detail. But at the moment, what I've been able to do is I focus on life coaching. So a part of my life coaching is, doing resume writing, LinkedIn, rebuilding, career coaching, headshots, and career coaching. So, for instance, you get a student or an adult, that's not really privy to the understanding of how the power of LinkedIn or the power of a strong resume and networking and things like that. I kind of start them from, where I started at, kind of learning and setting up a LinkedIn and making sure that their resume is tailored to the type of role that they're trying to get. But also that kind of links to me being able to connect them to the entrepreneurial side of themselves. So that entrepreneurial side of themselves is okay. It's okay for you to go and apply for a job and wait for someone to accept you. I know we all know what that feels like. Oh, I really want to get this job and I really want to get this internship, and
Checking your
I
email
didn't hear
3 times a day,
anything
like,
back,
oh
and
my God, did
or
they
you
get
get
that?
that auto generated. You get that auto generated because the application tracking system is like, like you don't have enough keywords, like not even a person, you know. So just trying to get people to understand, look, it's okay for you to go and apply for this job. Let's see what resources and what people you have around you already that can start you off as an entrepreneur in this role, and jump out there. Like before I was understood like what consulting was like. I mean, I went and I found the best consulting company, and I reviewed, okay, this is what it takes to do this. Reached out to those people. I didn't get responses then, but I eventually wound up getting responses. But just kind of getting people to think like, choose yourself, like accept yourself into your own role and own it, because it's nothing better than you waking up with some type of purpose versus you waking up and having to, oh, I gotta go and clock in, or oh, I gotta go and do this for someone else. Like everything I do
Worst feeling.
is, yeah, it's the worst feeling, and I just think that I know a lot of times people are like, everybody's not meant to be an entrepreneur and this and that. But I honestly feel like everybody is meant to do something for themselves, even at the smallest level. Like
I
you
agree.
can't possibly, exist on this earth and there are workers and there are, entrepreneurs in that aspect. But even as an entrepreneur, sorry, even as an entrepreneur, like you can connect those dots. You may not need to do everything, but you can be, the sole person for one particular avenue. And
So who's
I
your
guess
target market? Like who would benefit from your services outside of like students?
that was just kind of, I guess, one sector, but I would say everyone can benefit from my services. Really, it's just a matter of like where you are, along your journey. I meet people where they are. I don't, just dictate like, oh, well, you should be here. I'm not going to deal with you. I'm going to deal with adults like I deal with the youth, and all different ethnicities as well. Of course, focusing on the Black community because we lack a lot of resources and things of that sort, and that's what I solely built my business for. Thinking
Heavy
like, oh, I think. Wait, say that again.
heavy on the culture.
Heavy on the culture because around the time that I actually founded my business, it was around the time that I think Mike Brown had got killed in Ferguson. And I was angry, honestly. Like I was angry, and there was a lot of other angry people around me. Like we as a Black community, like people were up in arms. Like we're angry now, but it was like I was like, how could you do this?
That was
Like
one
how
of the
can
first
like
public, display.
yeah, that
So
exactly,
it was that it
exactly.
definitely affected the culture.
For
heavily.
sure, it's like that red stain. I think the WNBA actually had like pictures of like T-shirts with like the
Mm-hmm.
red, like dots as
Oh,
a like
mhm.
it's like symbolizing like bullets in their backs. But I actually wound up having a job that was in Ferguson for Planet Fitness at the time I was traveling, and it was kind of ironic because I'm like, man, all these, man, like I'm one of the few black people here at the company. Like, why y'all send me the first?
At this
But
time, like, come
at this
on.
time, I'm like, this
Okay.
is kind of okay. But I kind of own that, and I went to the area where Mike Brown, I mean, yeah, where Mike Brown was killed. And
Mm,
I soaked it up because the reality of it is, that could be me,
mm,
and at some point it was, in the simplest, similar situation, like was me. So just kind of embodying that at that particular time, I was feeling like, man, I want this to be for the culture. I want this to be for black people only. And then I realized, without sitting that completely down, that, what type of society would we really exist in if everybody thought to, just, my makeup doesn't come solely from black people.
mm.
My traveling across, the world and going to different cities and countries and things of that state, like doesn't necessarily just come from black people. Like I'm kind of made up of all of these different experiences that come from all people, so
So in a
kind of
sense, are you creating your own culture?
yes. So
Okay.
and like creating the culture, like when someone says like I have a post that, I'm kind of revving up my Instagram or social media posting and marketing, but I have a post that says like, what is your signature? Like what does signature mean to you?
Mm-hmm.
And coming up with the name Signature Culture Consulting, like the first thing that you're gonna think about is, like your signature,
Your written signature, yeah.
and when you think about your signature, it's like, what would you sign off on? Like, I don't do work that I can't sign off on. If I can't sign off on it, then I'm not going to do it. I can't partner with people that I can't sign off on.
Right.
And when you embody that as a person across the culture, no matter where you're from, it's like that's ownership. Like, this is something that I did with everything that I have, even if it's not enough to you. Like, I gave it 150%
Yeah.
where I'm at today.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, just kind of thinking about creating that signature culture,
Mm-hmm.
in my eyes, it's creating a culture that people just can't stop talking about. Like me stepping into a room and me meeting someone, virtually, or meeting someone in person. And they're like, man, like this young man, like, man, like,
You
wow,
leave
like you from Chicago?
you.
Yeah, like you want to leave a healthy stench, if
Mm,
I can call it that. Like you want to leave a healthy stench that actually lingers and kind of speaks for you without you ever having. Sometimes I never even tell people I have a business.
mm-hmm.
Like I just want them to meet me, and then if they discover at some point that I have a business or whatever, it just adds more to that. But I think in terms of like delivering services for people and communities, like I have no limits and barriers on who I'm willing to help, what services I'm willing to offer. Um, if I find someone that's doing something signature in a line of business that they're, passionate about,
Mm-hmm.
then hey, like I'm going to be trying to get in contact with them and say, hey, I know at some point you have a niche market. I have my niche market. Like, let's bring these together, because what signature is, it is what it is. Like, you don't have to run from that. It speaks for itself.
Right. So what's your favorite thing about being an entrepreneur?
I would say the freedom. I would say the freedom. It comes with a lot of responsibility. I think I have a lot of long nights. Anybody that knows me knows that like I'm like a vampire in terms of like that's when my creative thoughts come out.
Yeah.
But I
I'm the
think
same. I'm not the morning person. Night out
yeah,
for sure.
yeah, and I think the freedom and the ownership aspect of it is what's liberating, because I've held like quite a few different jobs, and I
Mm-hmm.
think a company telling you like be here at 8 o'clock sharp, or you have to do this. Like if my brain doesn't wake up at that time, or work up, if it doesn't work up, like if it doesn't work up at that time, then I
You're not
shouldn't
gonna be
be.
productive.
I'm not going to be productive. So okay, I'll come in at 8, but I'm gonna walk around and do this and do that and greet
Eat
people
breakfast,
until my brain, yeah,
right?
eat breakfast, yeah, on y'all, like that's fine. But in reality, I get started, 9:30, 10 o'clock, sometimes later, which to me, if I'm setting my calendar up, no difference in a corporate company. If I'm not feeling like starting at 8 o'clock, maybe I'm doing something else before that. Maybe, I'm motivated to maybe, I guess, not do anything, like, and maybe work a little bit later. Like, if
Mhm.
that's what works for me, I think that's one of the things that, being an entrepreneur, that I think is great. Something else too is just being able to provide opportunities for other people.
Mhm.
Nothing that I do is about me. Like nothing. Like, of course, there is a level of gratification.
Mhm.
When you help someone, it's so selfless that it's like some form of addiction, and where it's like, hey, like
Yeah,
I enjoy making other people happy. I enjoy bringing other people, opportunities, and using the doors that I've opened to kind of give them to them and make them and let them own them. But I
absolutely.
think, yeah, I can't really draw. I don't think you can get that, by working for someone else. I don't think you can develop that,
Not the
that
same.
start to finish. It's not the
It's
same.
not the
Like,
same.
yeah, it's
I
not
feel
the
like
same.
in jobs, I felt good about meeting a deadline or doing something that, like you said, someone else gave me to do. But
Hmm.
the feeling of doing it for yourself and for your own company is totally different. It's just
Yeah,
a different level of gratification, like you said, totally different.
yeah, and I think that if people like take that risk,
Hmm.
and be willing to, like explore and
Hmm.
get the best out of it. Because some days I feel like I don't may not want to take any life coaching
Hmm.
um, client. I may want to deal with business, or I may not want to take anything. I may just want to soak up and just kind of explore,
Hmm.
and travel and just see what I'm feeling. See what I can create that's different in a space, so that I can come back and bring that particular style or that particular pizzazz to that particular sector of my business.
What have you found to be the most difficult part of like starting a business?
Excuse me. Man, where do I start? I think the rabbit hole. Some stuff you just don't know. I mean, I went to school for business, and I'm not gonna say I didn't learn much about
Mhm.
business going to school for business, but you really don't. Um, there are books, and there are not necessarily hands-on approaches that you can actually embody in terms of,
They don't teach you to be an
okay.
entrepreneur. They teach you how to work for someone else.
Exactly, exactly. So you pay all this money to learn how to go and apply for a job. Like, if you spend 40 to $100,000 for schooling, you shouldn't, when you graduate, be looking up saying, "I need to apply for someone." Like, literally, I was just talking to my niece yesterday, and I was sharing with her, like, start a company now.
Hmm.
Figure it out. Like, I'll help you. Like,
Hmm.
just start it now. Like, you'll thank yourself 2 years from now when you're graduating with your own company, and you can still go and work for someone else.
But you
You can still go and develop that
account
experience.
for yourself.
Yeah, but it's like that's the tough. I think that's one of the toughest parts. Just is gratification in that too, where you really just don't know where you're going. I've had points and times where I'm like, oh, I'm in business, and then I look up and I'm like, oh, I need to update my I need to pay my taxes, or I need to, reestablish my business, or I need to move this here and move this here. Like, it's not necessarily the worst thing in the world, but I think it's just a part of accepting that challenge and constantly, especially being a one man crew. I think kind of building partnerships is what I look forward to, because you have accountability partners in the ownership aspect of, this is what you do, this is what I do, but let's make sure we're doing what we're doing, like at the highest level, in a signature way. But yeah, I think that's probably one of, you know, I guess one of the tougher aspects of it. Everything falls on you. Like, if you don't move, nothing moves. You
Exactly.
go, everything goes, and you're still human.
Yeah, and
So,
there'll be human error, and there'll be, like we always say, failure is a part of success. So
hmm
there's going to be difficulties. Do you
for
have a
sure.
mentor or business coach? Like, do you have someone that you can reach
Um,
out to?
Honestly, I thought about this. I don't necessarily. I think I have more like virtual business coaches that I don't know, like like on social media. Like I follow quite a few people, like Todd Capital.
Mhm.
I watch a lot of like Grant Cardone.
I love him.
Yeah, like I think all of my mentors are not necessarily in my circle. These are people that I don't know. These are people that I probably, I mean, not to say that I don't necessarily care to meet them. I think that I remember when I think I was in college and dang, I just had the guy's name. His name was Steve. I think his name started with Steve. He has like some type of business school or something in Baltimore. But
Mhm.
he came to the school. We had a Bless the Mic session. I went to Philander Smith College, at HBCU in Little Rock, and he came there for one of our Bless the Mic sessions. And I was intrigued. I'm like, man, like, dude is like black man. Yeah, that's
Guy.
me. Like, yeah. So after like I wound up meeting him, and I think the name of his book was Steve Perry. I think his name was Steve Perry,
Mhm.
and he wrote a book called Black Man Stand Up or something like that. And
Like, man.
yeah, so I was very motivated. And then Damon John
Mhm.
came to our school. I wound up taking a picture with him, and all of these kind of seeds were just planted. Like man, like it's that feeling of I have like if they've been able to do this,
Mhm. I
I
can.
can do it.
Mhm.
I see something. I think that's one of the benefits of definitely going to college and kind of getting out of, a city ailment or, getting exposed within a confinement where you kind of are being trained to kind of progress if you accept that challenge. But when like seeing that, I think I asked Damon John, like, because I'm always that person, like, hey, like, can I get, like, do you have a contact card? Like, let's connect on LinkedIn. Like, I'm that guy in college over there.
Building
I'm like,
relationships, but that's very important as an entrepreneur.
yeah, for sure. Like, and me trying to network with him, I think like one of them, if not both of them, were like, hey, just kind of follow me,
Mhm.
And I walked away like, ain't nobody finna follow you. Like, I need your number. I need your
I need a
number. I need to be able
contact
to pick
because
up and call
yeah.
you like when I need you.
Mhm.
And I think that resonates with me more now than then, of course, but understanding like, hey, like you don't have to get access to people. If you need something, there's a lot of information out there, like Eric Thomas, as a
Love him.
public speaker.
Love him.
You can't not like you're going to be motivated when you listen to him.
Mhm.
And even from a public speaking side of things, like speaking at my high school graduation, and it wasn't my high school graduation. I was a commencement speaker at my high school
Mhm.
for their graduation, but I watched from Denzel Washington to Chadwick Boseman, RIP to Black Panther. um, I watched so many different speeches. Barack Obama, Oprah, like I watched so many speeches. Like I was every day, every night. I was falling
And
asleep
there's so
watching this.
many people like ET. If you don't get motivated by him, I'm
I don't
like,
know what to
what's
tell
wrong
you.
with you? Like
Yeah,
something's not right.
yeah. It should be something. It should be something that sparks. When you listen to certain people, and like even I got motivated. In that aspect, and I started seeing the power of like virtual mentors that I've never met. You
Mhm.
know, because even listening to like Denzel Washington,
Mhm.
it's like I don't need to meet Denzel Washington. I don't need to be in a space, and I'm not big on like face. I am big on face cards and credibility and things of that sort, but I'm not kind of like the pomp and stance type of thing. But if you pay attention to what people have done
Mhm.
and and just knowing that speaks for itself. It's movies that we don't even know about that Denzel has played in. It's movies that we don't know about
Mhm.
that Chadwick Boseman has played in. I mean, we don't. necessarily know everything that everybody is doing, but at some point
If you listen to
you're
them
like,
people.
dang,
Yep.
I didn't know he was in there, or I didn't know he was in that. So yeah, I think that I kind of, take that. I do try to connect with, a lot of people, and I'm not going to necessarily say on recording that I don't have any
Mhm.
mentors, because there are definitely people in my circle that I reach out to, but I don't like to take up people's time. But when I do get it, I make the most of it. But yeah.
Absolutely. So, what are your essential tools for success? This is something that I ask everyone. What
Mm.
are things that you do every day or regularly, or things you use? Like for me, my laptop is definitely an essential tool for
Oh
success.
yeah, for
We
sure.
are conjoined at the hip at this point.
Right, right, right.
So, for you, what are some of your essential tools?
Definitely my laptop. Um, I take that everywhere. I say that's my business on the go. My webcam, that's definitely necessary just in case I have to do a meeting on the fly.
Mm-hmm.
These notepads, like I have like a million of them. These things here are like, never knew how
Lifeline,
powerful they were. Yeah,
lifeline.
they're life. Yeah, these are life changing because you think because you have technology and an iPhone like that,
Mhm.
oh, I have everything all in one space. And you go and look for your notes and you wind up on Instagram, or then you wind up watching a YouTube video or something like that. Like, so that's definitely an essential. I think I would say YouTube is definitely an
Mhm.
essential. I'm always exploring something on
Mhm.
YouTube, like from a Elon Musk video on how they curate cars for
Mhm.
Tesla and what's the next Tesla. Other motivated entrepreneurs that people doubt. Like I like to find the underdogs, like
Because everything,
Elon Musk.
everybody is on YouTube.
Yeah, everybody is on YouTube. Like,
Everybody.
and I try not to, like, from a music standpoint. I listen to all kinds of genres of music.
Mhm.
Um, but I try not to get too consumed,
Mhm.
and listening to just music. I think when I was going through like my recovery in 2017, 2018, I kind of fell into the YouTube segment where I was like, I'm watching Isaiah Thomas of the Boston Celtics and how his sister died and he beat my Chicago Bulls. Whatever. I wasn't excited about that at the time, but just kind of watching his journey of how, his sister passed and he was still going. And then he wound up, he was real big on, hey, we're going to be bringing the Brinks truck, because Isaiah Thomas was having a stellar year. And
Mhm.
then he played through injury. And when we start talking about companies and signature cultures, you
Mhm.
know, I'll be the person to determine that. Whether someone feels like, who's he to, that's okay. I mean, you create your own brand, you can be whoever you want to be. But in terms of like putting that stamp on signature organizations and cultures, like that was one of those moments where I was like, man, like that's not signature.
Right.
Like, this guy played through the playoffs. He lost his sister. He took you all to the Eastern Conference Finals, and he deserves a payday. And when the time came for you to return that favor, you traded him off, you
Mm.
know, and he
Mhm.
was injured. So now he had to recover because he took your organization and made your organization all of this money. You traded him off to, I think, the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now he's not even a starter anymore,
Mm.
you know. Never Isaiah Thomas never got that payday if he's even in the league. So
Mhm.
that book of Isaiah during my recovery process was kind of like it burned. It was like a burning fire because something similar had happened to me.
Mhm.
I was able to relate, but like the YouTube inspiration of the people who you don't know or that you may not ever see or may not ever meet, like not even they don't even have to be big names. That's essential for me every day, because at some point, like I need just as much motivation as I try to give.
Mm.
And sometimes you don't have that motivation,
Yeah.
and like you don't have it. People are like,
Looking
oh,
for
whatever,
it, and you don't know where you're gonna find it.
Exactly. You have to be very curious. Like I tell people all the time, like be curious, be as curious as possible. Like
Mm.
ask questions, like seek out different stuff, because you just really never know where that next it factor is going to come
It's
from.
gonna
The
come.
Last Dance, yeah, like The Last Dance. Like I'm a Michael Jordan fanatic. You know, I'm a
Mm.
Chicago Bulls fanatic in terms of just the culture. Like,
Mhm.
regardless of what people can say, you know, there are defined signature cultures that already existed before I even existed. You
Mhm.
know, and when you look at like the Bulls and the Lakers and even the Celtics as an organization, focusing on the Bulls and Michael Jordan, kind of using those it factors, like you hear stories about Michael Jordan walking in the Madison Square Garden and someone, you know, speaking to him in a certain way, or someone not speaking to him, and now
Mhm.
you're like, I'm gonna drop 60 on you.
Right.
Nope.
That was his
You should have
motivation.
spoke. You should have spoke.
Right. That
Like
was his motivation.
that small, and the person don't even know where it's coming from. They're like, but I didn't see you, Mike. Like, nah, it's
Right.
oh, I'm gonna drop 60. It might be 80, you know, but
Right. No
you
Mike.
need that. Yeah,
Mhm.
I mean, yeah, no, Mike. I mean, Mike is Mike. But as a person, like I take something like that and add that to me. You know, if a company fires me or if I'm mistreated, you
Mhm.
know, I actually enjoy.
The negatives of the situation, like you turn them around
Yeah.
and make
I
them positive
paused
for
because the last
yourself.
time I said I enjoy failure and all that stuff like that, like I experienced it in like the worst way possible, which it wound up working out, and it's good to, and I still do, but it's like I enjoy the 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 humbling experiences
Mhm.
because that's how you become who you are. Like when you're, you know, out of sight, out of mind, and you're
Mhm.
making a lot of money, and you know everything is going right. Think about people who have lives that everything goes right. And when the smallest thing goes wrong,
The smallest
they're
inconvenience,
like,
they lose their mind. They
and it's
lose
like,
their minds.
what are you panicking for?
Mhm.
It's life. Like life is happening to you
Life
right now.
happens.
Like embrace it.
Right.
So yeah.
Well, before we get out of here,
Hmm.
do you have any advice for any entrepreneurs or any books or podcasts or other recommended resources that you would give?
Yeah. So definitely advice wise, I would just say do things that you are not good at.
Oh, okay.
Try things that you know make you nervous. Like if you're good and you know you've been successful at it, or in your mind you're like, oh, I'm cold at that, like I don't have to worry about that.
Mhm.
Those are the things that you can put on your shelf and you can always go back to. Try to tap into things that you have no idea about, that you have to go and actually be a student. You know, I always try to preach like graduate like every day. You
Mhm.
know, graduate. Like don't wait 4 years, or don't wait till you graduate from high school and then college and
Mhm.
then like when is your next graduation period? The way you create those opportunities and those journeys is by trying things that you know nothing about and tasking yourself with that. Even if you put it down, you know, just focus on the things that you struggle at, things that the unknown. As far as podcasts, I've listened to, I think it's a Tide Capital
Mhm.
podcast. Is he focuses on a lot of I'm trying to make sure I have the name right, but he focuses on a lot of like
Mhm.
the financial side of things, real estate, just a very knowledgeable person, credible person. I do listen. I do watch like well now that doesn't have anything to do with anything. We'll leave that out. But yeah, so that as far as books, I would say from an entrepreneurial standpoint or just a human standpoint, Leaders Eat Last by
Okay.
Simon Sinek. That book is definitely one of my favorites. A client actually gifted that to me.
I'm gonna have to
And
check it out.
yeah, Leaders Eat Last, that's definitely going to put you in a space where you can either put yourself on the ownership side of things, but
Mhm.
you will definitely be able to, I think everyone will be able to relate to the working side of things. Like, you
Mhm.
know, that book is definitely going to do it in a different kind of way. And you can reread that book as many times as you want. The Alchemist, I'm always going to
My favorite
recommend that
book
book
ever.
because I always feel like we're on a journey
Mhm.
to the unknown. Um, and you have to accept that journey. Like you're going to have people that are going to tell you,
Yeah.
oh, well, what about this? And what about that? One of my mottos, recent mottos is like, don't create barriers for yourself.
Mm.
Like
There's
if
always
you
gonna be
have,
where
yeah, like just do it. Like just do it. Just Google it. Just do it. Like if it's something that you're trying to do, like I don't know how to like Google. We live in a generation to where we can find out anything.
Anything.
Like if you want to be a public speaker, you can go on YouTube, public speakers, watch them and literally mimic them because you're still not going to be them. You're going to do it in your way.
It's gonna be you. Yep.
So yeah, that. And then I think as far as books, there's The One Thing is another book.
By Gary Keller.
That
Mm-hmm.
yeah. I think The One Thing, even though I still don't do just one thing, I think just understanding that, when you
The
lock in, like
mentality.
I think,
Yeah.
yeah, the mentality of when I lock in on that one thing type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so I think those are like three books that I would definitely recommend, especially from an entrepreneurial standpoint, because it kind of sets you up type of thing. A journey, um, leaders eat last. So if you're leading, you know, you can't be trying to gobble up all the networks. You can't be trying to gobble up everything. You can't be like, oh, I. Like, put your people on first. Like, take care of your people. You may not get paid. Like, don't worry about yourself. I don't think a lot of companies embody that. Corporate companies, major companies, they don't embody that. It's about, well, you didn't do this and the policy of this and policy is only as relevant as the current moment. You write up a policy one time.
But
Like,
times change, things change, so your policies have to change.
Yeah, so you're telling me that your policy states that I have to be here at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock or whatever that time is, but my car broke down this morning.
There's no room
Or
for
I
error.
wasn't feeling good last night.
Yeah.
I remember a time where I think with one of my jobs, this was funny to me because I've always been an entrepreneur, regardless of anything.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't feeling good the day before, but I didn't know I wasn't going to be feeling good.
Right.
I'm not Jesus Christ himself. And the verbiage was, oh, well, you need to let us know ahead of time.
And it's like something like that I can't control for.
I'm like, if I'm sick, is this going to heal me? Like,
Right.
if I felt like working and I was getting better, like, I'm pissed now. I don't want to work anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But it's those types of things that I just feel like you, as an entrepreneur or just as a person, with purpose, like, you can't close your eyes to the things that are right there in your face. And in our community, like, it's our duty. It's our duty. Like, when I say it's our duty, like, I have to do what I'm doing. I have to do this. Like, it's not an option. It's not because I want to be a millionaire and I want to get all of this glamorous stuff. Like, I have to do this for the culture. Like, I have to teach people that look like me and people that don't look like me how to conduct themselves in a signature way, how to give themselves the best odds and, network and, build that strong foundation of strangers or people that to, take you along your journey.
Well, once again, I want to say thank you.
For sure. Thank you for having me.
Interview. I appreciate you. I will be letting people know about Signature Culture. Heavy on the culture.
Culture, emphasis on the culture. For sure. I appreciate it. I definitely appreciate the opportunity, and congratulations to you on even, creating a platform like this, just taking the time out to interview and showcase others. It's selfless. And I also think that it's necessary. This is definitely something that I look forward to returning the favor on. I'm going to need you in this same way because people have to see that, one, as a Black man, as a Black woman, like that, there are things that there's not a competition.
We can work together. Absolutely.
We can work together, and it doesn't have to be through marriage. It doesn't have to be through other entanglements. like literally like helping to rebuild like the image of like a Black man and a Black woman and what that looks like. Like, I'm working on something called Signature Men and Signature Women, and that in itself is, I'm creating that because I'm tired of like seeing, oh, well, men and this and women and this. And it's like, shut up. Like, what are you good at? What are you good at? Let's start there. And then let's add to that. Okay. Have a meeting, keep adding to that. So kudos to you. Shout out to you. High five. I appreciate the opportunity, and I definitely enjoyed this sit down.
Me too. do it again too.
For sure, for sure.